earlier, or are you not quicker than that? Can you not catch that? He's like, Højbjerg's played about 4 passes or 3 passes straight off the pitch. There's long raking diagonals. It just hasn't worked for them, or certainly for him.
David Moyes still providing instructions for his players. This will pretty much be the last kick of the first half as Fabianski plays it long upfield. There is the half-time whistle. Well, Thomas Souček had a glorious opportunity to put West Ham in front, heading into the stanchion from point-blank range, and Harry Kane at the other end. Another header clawed over the crossbar by Fabianski, and the closest the two sides have come to breaking the deadlock. West Ham the better team for much of the first half, but unable to find a way past Hugo Lloris in the Tottenham goal. Half-time in this London derby. It is West Ham 0, Tottenham 0. You are listening to Premier League Live.
From the terraces to the touchline, if you're the ultimate football fan, you need to subscribe to the Game Day podcast from TalkSport.
Quite simply, the biggest game on the planet. Liverpool travelling to Manchester United. Let's hear from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Jurgen Klopp.
The history between the clubs, the rivalry, all the trophies that these two teams have won, it's a massive game, and the local rivalry. And I always say, every time you're a Man United player, being given the privilege, honour, responsibility to wear the shirt and step out onto that pitch onto Old Trafford against Liverpool, you give everything you have, and we know that these games don't need any bigging up. It's a massive game.
If you watch the game, then you obviously could see that Atlanta cost United in the first half some problems. But even in that half, I think United had 3 clear-cut chances in one situation of the goalie. So with all the things, so in the second half was a pure power presentation of United. They went for it, and with the quality they have, the individual quality they have, they can cause then any team problems, especially when you stop playing football. What opposite Atlanta did a little bit. I prepared the team for a game against a really good opponent.
That was Jurgen Klopp and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer looking ahead to Manchester United against Liverpool. Paul Parker and John Anderson will be your commentary team at Old Trafford. We'll have the team news in around about 40 minutes' time. David, quick word on that game. I mean, everything points towards a Liverpool victory. You'd have to be mad to try and make a case for Manchester United to win this game, but by the same token, we've said that before when it comes to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he's managed to pull it out of the bag.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, look, they were dreadful against Leicester, you know, and sort of a lot of questions were asked about that. I don't think they were that much better against Atalanta, but, you know, turned it around in the end with their second half performance, and I think obviously Ole knows home game against Liverpool doesn't get much bigger than this, and this is where he needs his players to stand up and be counted. You know, it looks like Fernandes might be struggling, Fred might be struggling, maybe Rashford might be struggling as well, so we'll have to wait and see. But for Liverpool and the likes of Mo Salah, you know, they're going to be so tough to stop.
Fred is struggling. That might be a case of strength in the absence. But in terms of Ronaldo, could he be a problem this afternoon? Because we know that he doesn't press from the front. We've all seen the statistics. Against Liverpool, can you afford to have almost a passenger when you're not in possession like Ronaldo?
Well, I mean, the reason they signed Ronaldo is they looked at say, Man City, and you saw the goals they scored last night, Man City. You know, how many they got in the 6-yard box? Foden one, Gundogan another one. There could be one more. But basically, you know, they had like four times as many goals as United in the 6-yard box, so they needed a 6-yard box finisher, and they got one now. So, I mean, it depends what you want. You know, do you want him to come short, link the play like Kane and get involved in the box, or do you want him in and around the penalty area, you know, second 6-yard box, because there'll be no one better? I know what I'd rather have. I'd rather have him. So, you know, you can't have it all, and, you know, this is where Ollie's got to confound his critics, really, and it don't need a performance. But yeah. I think Ronaldo starts. He's got to.
Well, we'll find out in 35 minutes' time. We'll get the team news first and fastest here on Premier League Live. We've got the second half to come as well. West Ham against Tottenham. A very cagey opening 45 minutes in the East End. Son then plays it into Ndombele. He's continued his run. Son into the penalty area. Shoots right-footed straight at Fabianski.
Fantastic football this is from Tottenham. Finally they do pick a way through. This time it's Ndombele. Spots the runner Son. It's a perfect pass, 30 yards along the deck, and Son could have squared it.
Fornals level with the penalty area. Over on the far side, crosses over the head of Antonio, and it's a header from Souček against the stanchion behind the goal. A glorious chance. Souček knows it, punches the green turf in frustration. It was a wonderfully weighted ball hanging in the air. Souček rising high above Reguilon, just couldn't get the header on target, and probably should have.
By his standards, that is a really good chance. Probably one last season, maybe, I don't know, maybe would have taken it.
Reguilon with a chance to cross again. Stood up to the far post. Kane wanted it more. Good save, Fabianski. Turns the ball over the crossbar. Harry Kane from point blank range, rising above Cresswell. And it's going to be a corner for Tottenham.
Yeah, it's a good, strong hand here from Fabianski. I think either side of him, it would have been a goal.
West Ham 0, Spurs 0. There hasn't been a draw between these two in the last 12 meetings. What do the two managers, David Moyes and Nuno Espirito Santo, have to do in the second half, David Connolly, to make sure their team come out on the right end of the result?
Well, I think David Moyes will be pretty content with what he's seen so far. I mean, obviously, you know, they've had probably the better chances. I think Tottenham have been really wasteful in possession. If you're Nuno, you'd be saying, you've got to retain the ball a little bit better. You know, at times, the likes of Højbjerg and Skip kick the ball off the pitch. That they haven't looked progressive enough, and it's been a bright opening from West Ham. They'll be pretty pleased so far. Souček's probably had the best chance of the game, hasn't he, with the header? And for Tottenham, it's been kind of shots from distance. So they'll have to improve, try and work that ball closer to goal.
I want to ask you quickly about a story that's been breaking in the last half an hour or so. Reports that Billy Gilmour spotted celebrating with the Chelsea players after they beat his loan club Norwich 7-0 at Stamford Bridge yesterday. Talk that his loan at Carrow Road may well be terminated as a result of that. Isn't a great look, is it?
No, I mean, look, we don't know exactly, do we, if this is true or not. But I guess he didn't feature, did he? Not allowed to, which I don't agree with in this country. I think it's really. It's a strange situation to have a player on loan that can't play against his parent club. I just don't believe in it, But nonetheless, whether that's true or not, look, we don't know. But he's not playing at the minute. Obviously, Norwich couldn't be doing any worse, and I'm sure if there is a recall, probably won't be till January, but probably Billy can't wait to get out of there.
I was going to say, if you were being cynical, you could say that was quite a clever way of leaving Norwich City. More on that as we get it. Second half to come, though. West Ham 0, Tottenham 0. You are listening to Premier League Live.
Got an unquenchable thirst for sport? Get up to speed with the day.
this season. Doesn't look as if either manager are going to go to their bench for the second half. The Tottenham players have been out for a good minute or so now. They look primed and ready for action, David Connolly, much like your good self.
Well, maybe he sent them out of a flea in their ear, I don't know, they're out early. I'm sure Nuno will want a little bit better. To be honest, it hasn't been a classic so far, pretty cagey affair. I think both teams know the strengths of each other, not willing to give much away. But they just had the average positions up on the graphic on the TV. And look, when West Ham don't have the ball, as we were saying in commentary, all 11 behind it. Tottenham's best chance is on the counter, but apart from Son, they don't really have the speed, do they, to really hurt teams. And when they've tried to play that longer pass, it's normally been kicked off the pitch. So a bit of a challenge for Spurs. And West Ham, when they get the ball into the likes of Antonio, get it wide, get it into the box, they look a threat.
The bubbles from the bubble machine flying across the pitch here at London Stadium. The West Ham players back out ready for the second half. David Moyes, the last to emerge, the West Ham manager, deep in conversation with the club captain Mark Noble amongst the subs this afternoon, but no change for the second half, which West Ham get underway in their claret jerseys, sky blue sleeves, white shorts and claret socks, attacking the goal away to the left-hand side with Fabianski in goal, Johnson, Zuma, O'Connor, who's been booked, and Cresswell making up defence, Souček and Rice in front of them, Bowen, Benrahma and Fornals in behind Antonio up front. Tottenham with the white jerseys, navy shorts and white socks, shooting from left to right with Lloris in goal, Emerson Royal, Romero, Dyer and Reguilon, Højbjerg and Skip, Lucas Moura and Ndombele and Son, and then Harry Kane, who's been largely starved of service on his 250th Premier League appearance, the England captain up front, having been shortlisted recently for the coveted Ballon d'Or.
Well, they had the kick-off there, didn't they, West Ham? Played it back to Zuma and tried to aim for Souček, and again, just gone off the pitch. You need a better ball there, lofted, dinked up in the air, a bit of loft on it, a bit of height, allowing you to flick it on. Rather, that was like a driven, like a off the tee golf shot. And Tottenham just ducked out of it, waste.
West Ham have won 16 Premier League games against Tottenham. Only more victories against Southampton since the competition started back in 1992. Here is Ollie Skip in the centre circle. He plays it down the right hand side to Ndombele. If he can pick out Kane in the centre, he would have had a great chance. Tried to siphon it into the path of Harry Kane, but can only pick out Fabianski. Had to take that ball on first time, really, to make the most of the attack. But it's a lovely ball forward, wasn't it, by Skip in the first place? Yeah,
brilliant ball.
Here's Benrahma at the other end, edge of the penalty area, shoots right footed, block. Bowen left-footed shot, blocked again by Reguilon. Suddenly this game is wide open at the start of the second half, and given away by Reguilon to Souček inside the area. Chance to get across him maybe. Bowen finds Benrahma, crowded out of it by three Tottenham players, but he's still got possession. Here's Emerson Royal now.
That pass, sorry Alex, that pass from Ollie Skip was superb though, wasn't it? First time we've seen him sort of pull one of them off to Ndombele. Just the cross was awful.
Here's Son dispossessing Johnson high up the pitch, but Johnson wins it back and then feeds the ball forward to Declan Rice. And now Cresswell away from Kane on this left hand side. Don't think it will finish 0-0. I hope I'm not tempting fate. 1-0 Leicester lead against Brentford. They've just got underway in the second half at the Brentford Community Stadium. We've got commentary of Liverpool's trip to Manchester United coming up with Paul Parker and John Anderson. Team news from there in 24 minutes time. Will Bruno Fernandes be fit? That's the big question for Manchester United. What a game that promises to be, rounding off an excellent weekend in the Premier League. Started on Friday night, Arsenal uber impressive against Aston Villa. Some big stories yesterday. Chelsea hitting Norwich for 7, Watford scoring 5 at Everton. Norwich might not score 5 all season. Here at the London Stadium, it's West Ham 0, Tottenham 0. I don't think we've had a goalless game yet this weekend, have we? Here is Dyer out to the right hand side, and the yellow booted Christian Romero for Spurs. Conceded 18 goals in their last 9 matches. Tottenham, after 1 in 5 before that. Ndombele forward to Skip, and Ndombele About to stride forward over the halfway line for Tottenham. Into Lucas Moura just outside the area. Finds Reguilon. Plenty of white shirts in the centre. Steered away by Johnson. And then Emerson Royal with a cross blocked behind by Fornals. Corner.
Well, this was fabulous play here, especially from Ndombele. Lovely little right foot onto his left foot into Lucas Moura. He stabbed it out wide to Reguilon. And he's sort of put this cross in about thigh height. There's not a lot really Harry Kane can do here. He makes a brilliant run to the near post, Kane. He just needs it slotted along the ground. Sorry, Ollie Skip does. He just needs it slotted along the ground. In the end, the cross is at an awkward height as an attacker to put anything on it.
5 minutes played in the second half. West Ham 0, Spurs 0 here on Premier League Live. Tottenham had their third corner of the afternoon. Will be taken from the right hand side. Dyer is forward from the back, so too Romero. West Ham yet to consider the stooping Fornals. And Tottenham will have to build again with Skip inside the centre circle. Seeing plenty of possession since half time though, Tottenham really picking up in this second period where they ended the first on the front foot. Reguilon dispossessed though. And here comes Antonio down the right for West Ham. Antonio into the penalty area. Bowen trying to help it into the centre and Fornals, but Tottenham clear it to the halfway line. Here's Johnson away from Ndombele. Good run by Johnson, stopped in the end only by Højbjerg, and then Højbjerg forward to Reguilon, the left back.
Well, chances at both ends. That time I think looked like Antonio just fired that ball into the box to Bowen. He couldn't quite get it out of his feet, but it's been a much more open game.
51 play, West Ham 0, Tottenham 0. Nuno Espirito Santo stands, arms folded on the edge of the technical area. As Skip comes over the halfway line for Tottenham in the right wing position, tries to knock it around Declan Rice. That's not an easy task, but Rice sliding in can only give it back to Skip, and then Skip tries to stand up the cross straight into the arms of Fabianski, and he quickly releases it down the left hand side to Cresswell. Much better match.
Yeah, and it looked like to me Ollie Skip was trying to pick out Ndombele at the back post, but he just sort of shanked or miscued his cross. In the end it went straight into the arms of Fabianski. Could have done a little bit more with that, Ollie Skip. But again, you know, another good attack from Tottenham. Much more open game.
Tottenham have won 3 of their last 5 Premier League away games. Looking to make the breakthrough in this one. 0-0 with 52 minutes played. Their travelling supporters making themselves heard around London Stadium. Dyer, long raking ball, looking for Lucas Moura. To his credit, leapt above Ogbonna, heads it down to Kane on the edge of the area. One back though by Souček. Here is Cresswell down that left hand side for West Ham. Good ball into Antonio. Antonio on the halfway line finds Benrahma, gives it back to Antonio. The ball sticking to him like a magnet, but at the end he's dispossessed by Højbjerg. And then Lucas Moura into the centre and Ndombele. Ndombele midway inside the West Ham half, looking for Harry Kane.
From Ogbonna, because it looked like Ndombele had picked a way through, spotted a gap, a smallest, the tiniest of gaps into Harry Kane, but Ogbonna with a last-ditch interception.
Now here's Fornals for West Ham, end to end this game in the second half. Cresswell well forward over the halfway line. Rice sweeps it out to the right, and Johnson, who's a willing runner. Antonio and Fornals wait for the cross in the centre. Johnson plays it down the line to Bowen. Tottenham with plenty of white shirts back there. Bowen with the cross, headed away by Eric Dyer, and then picked up inside the centre circle by Ogbonna. Feels much more like a derby match now. The crowd much more involved. There were periods of almost silence in the first half, almost like they were waiting for something to happen on the pitch. Here's Declan Rice for West Ham, away from Ndombele into Benrahma inside the area. Here is Benrahma out to the right hand side, and Bowen. Johnson again is forward. Antonio's come out to that right touchline. They want him in the centre really. Here's Johnson back to Antonio, and Antonio is going to cross left footed from the right hand side, cleared by Reguilon. Only as far as Benrahma. Cresswell in the area. The whistle blown for handball against Thomas Souček. Free kick for Spurs.
Yeah, I thought maybe he'd just strayed offside as well here.
Referee was certainly pointing to his arm. Good volume level around London Stadium now. West Ham 0, Tottenham 0 with 10 minutes gone in the second half. Can the home players feed off that energy from the stands? 1-0 Leicester lead at Brentford. Early goal from Yuri Tillemans in the first half, still separating the sides at the Brentford Community Stadium. That's in the west of London, we're in the East End. These two fierce rivals going head to head, West Ham and Tottenham. West Ham, remember, having lost each of their last 2 Premier League home games. As Johnson picks up possession 5 yards inside his own half of the Hammers. Bowen shrugged off by Reguilon, and here's Ndombele. Son and Kane ahead of him again. They can't quite find Kane. O'Connor hurries his clearance only to Højbjerg, scoops it over the top again and collected by Fabianski again. Højbjerg's not happy with the lack of movement.
Well, no, I think he's sort of saying to Son, that was for you. I mean, Son could be on a motorbike, he wouldn't get on the end of that. I don't know what he's complaining about. He's played too many of those passes, Højbjerg. It's always someone else's fault.
So check back to Fabianski, all in green, the West Ham goalkeeper. Guides the ball out the right-hand side, and Johnson again urged forward. Goes back to Zuma. Now Souček. Thomas Souček, 10 yards inside the West Ham half, plays it to Zuma, or Obona rather, who comes forward. Fornals plays it out to the left, and Cresswell. Tottenham have been well organised defensively, made it difficult for West Ham certainly to get any service into Antonio in particular. Here's Johnson though, trying to change that down the right. Johnson with a cross into Antonio, couldn't quite get on the end of it. Still alive with Ben Rama, who might get a shot off here. Ben Rama nearly found Fornals. Really good tackle by Reguilon on the slide. And here comes Spurs on the counter. Romero bursts out from defence. He's got Son one side, Kane the other. Romero into Harry Kane. Can he find Son in the centre? No. Straight into the arms of Fabianski.
Shocking cross in from Harry Kane. I mean, that was a 3v2. He had Son completely unmarked in the box. He's just got to pick him out with a much better ball. Straight into the arms of the goalkeeper. Awful.
Tell you what, it's game alive now. Counter-attack after counter-attack. Cresswell's crossed far too close to Lloris. And the Tottenham goalkeeper just telling his teammates just to calm it down a touch. 0-0.
Well, they certainly didn't make the most of that, Tottenham, because Declan Rice had ventured forward. He showed a good little bit of skill to get away, then he lost it almost on the edge of the box, the Tottenham box, and that was their trigger, Tottenham, to then counter-attack. But the cross in from Harry Kane was just so wasteful.
Nonetheless, it's been a much more entertaining opening 13 minutes of the second half than probably the whole of the first half put together, David Connolly.
And how many goals that he got? I forget, you probably know how many goals he got last season, Kane, but obviously his assists are up there as well, right? I mean, I don't think anyone got more, so by his standards, that was a pretty simple task, just to deliver that ball from the right-hand side of the box into Son, who's about 8 yards out for him.
I think it was the most assists from a striker since Andy Cole back in Manchester United's treble-winning season. But still, to me, Harry Kane doesn't look particularly match sharp. Here's Fornals down the left-hand side, away from the sliding Emerson Royal, and then onto his right foot. And in the end, Romero comes across and smashes the ball clear, and then did he spit in the face of Fornals? Well, certainly something has gone on down by the corner flag. I think Romero was unhappy that Fornals stayed down after the challenge. Now, what happened when Romero went right into the face of Pablo Fornals, David?
Well, it looked like he just shouted at him. I'm not too sure he spat on him. It looked like he just shouted, and he went very close to his face, leant down towards him because Fornals was on the floor. I mean, it was a fantastic bit of skill from Fornals initially, just to get away from Emerson Royal, and then obviously chopped back in. Romero cleaned him out from behind. It is a yellow, but he's a brave boy doing that. The West Ham home, I know that.
And it probably was a foul because he came in from behind. I think you're right. I think he was just shouting in the face, but it was just the angry reaction from Fornals that made me perhaps suspect there was more to it. Yellow card for Christian Romero.
Well, I mean, there was a bit of liquid that we couldn't quite see, but it just seemed to come downwards on top of Fornals. But anyway, look, that could have been sweat, it could have been anything. It could have been the vigour that he shouted at Fornals with. But anyway, nonetheless, it's just a yellow for the tackle.
Certainly much more edge to this game since half-time. Cresswell hooking the ball forward, headed up and not really away by Emerson Royal. It's a bit uncomfortable for me at times to fall back. Here is Fornals. That looked like a handball by Lucas Moura, leaning into the cross. Meanwhile, I think Jarrod Bowen has landed awkwardly.
I think it's Cresswell that's gone down here. He's gone over the top to try and win this ball. Cresswell taking a run and jump and sort of...
Oh, he's landed on his...
behind.
Yeah, not very comfortable that for Aaron Cresswell. 0-0. Cresswell maybe a bit winded. They do have a free kick. It was needless, wasn't it, for Lucas Moura, just leaning in with that right arm. West Ham applying a bit of pressure here on the hour mark. Christian Romero still looks like he's got a fair amount of pent-up aggression after that incident down by the corner flag.
Well, he's going to take this, Cresswell, by the looks of it. It's either him or Ben Rama over the ball. And I think, what was it, no one got more set-piece goals last season than West Ham. Something like 16, I remember. So they are going to be a threat at this.
They've had plenty of time as well, haven't they, to line up their chess piece in the centre, and for Cresswell and Ben Rama in conversation to work out where they're going to deliver this ball. Michael Antonio hasn't had too many sights of goals so far, but he is lurking around about the penalty spot. 0-0 in this London derby. Ben Rama walks away from the free kick, played in by Cresswell, but dealt with easily enough by Spurs. Ogbonna up from the back finds Fornals, and here's Bowen in the area. Bowen looking for Zuma. Zuma trying to turn, dispossessed, and the ball is cleared towards the halfway line. West Ham on top though, David Conley, your former club.
Yeah, a little bit of encouragement as well from the fans, you know. Obviously up on their feet, they maybe can sense something might be coming here. It's going to be a tight game, that's for sure, so maybe one goal might win it.
62 played. Son on the ball for Tottenham. Over the halfway line he goes. Now Emerson Royal forward from right back, the £21.5 million signing from Barcelona in the summer. Terrific atmosphere inside London Stadium. Son's had his pocket picked by Declan Rice. Declan Rice out-muscling Son and making his way into the Tottenham half. He's away from Lucas Moura as well. It's a brilliant burst forward. Antonio ahead of him. Did he time his run? Cuts the cross back. Antonio. Might be a chance here for Ben Rama inside the penalty area. Left-footed shot blocked by Skip. They're still appealing, Tottenham, for offside.
And they've got it.
Belatedly, they've got it. I mean, the play must have gone on for about 40 seconds.
Oh, I mean, but Antonio, he's got to know he's offside here. I mean, he's clearly offside. I don't know why Declan Rice plays it to him.
2 yards offside.
I mean, Declan can see that. I mean, it's such a waste of all his wonderful work before that, because he carried the ball, went past about 3 Tottenham players in the end, and I mean, why he played it through to Antonio, who's clearly offside? It was by Declan's standards, he's smarter than that.
Second goal in the game at the Brentford Community Stadium. We'll have commentary of it very shortly. Still waiting for the deadlock to be broken in East London. West Ham 0, Tottenham 0, and team news less than 10 minutes away. Manchester United at home to Liverpool. What a game that promises to be, as Hugo Lloris belatedly will take this free kick for Tottenham. West Ham fans again not happy with what they see as time-wasting tactics from the Spurs captain. Did seem to take an eternity, David Conley, to take the set piece.
Yeah, as it has done all day, which I think means, you know, can send out a couple of messages, can't it? One, you know, you're quite happy to take a point here, Tottenham, and move on.
At the moment, if there is going to be, it will come from West Ham United. David Moyes stands, arms folded, trying to urge his players on. The West Ham manager taking charge of a Premier League game for the 592nd time, David Moyes. After that difficult spell at Manchester United and at Sunderland and in Spain, I think his reputation over the last season or so has been fully restored, the former Everton boss, with what he's done at West Ham. Here's Lucas Moura, sliding tackle from Declan Rice to prod the ball out for a throw on this near touchline.
Yeah, he's tried that a couple of times, the same skill, Lucas Moura. He just takes it, tries to burst past people, and really, it hasn't quite worked.
Centre of the West Ham half.
Well, I mean, look, it's going to be a really tight affair, and I think both teams and both managers know that there's not going to be a lot in this. So West Ham are heavily reliant on their starting 11, aren't they? You know, it rarely deviates away from that. So I wouldn't guess Moyes would do too much.
Well, let's get commentary of that equalising goal, giving the game away in the game between Brentford and Leicester. Richard Wolfenden.
Corner on the far side. Brentford have had plenty, but they've not been good. That one's better. Into the mix it goes, and into the goal it goes. Brentford have their equaliser, and it's Jorgensen on from the back, who glances it at the near post, and into the net it goes.
1-1. All to play for in West London. All to play for in East London as well. 0-0 between West Ham and Spurs. You see plenty of supporters mingling on their way to the two games in the capital. As I arrived in London earlier today, all very good-natured, despite the fierce rivalry in particular between West Ham and Tottenham. A rivalry that did bubble over a bit, that altercation.
Dreadful delivery into the box, this time from Son, straight into the arms of Fabianski, and you know, they've certainly got, you can see why, you know, maybe the stats that you read out earlier, why they are the way they are for Tottenham in terms of, you know, shots and chances created, etc, etc.
There's still plenty of work to do, I think, for Nuno Espirito Santo, regardless of whatever the outcome will be in the final quarter of this game. Højbjerg with the clearance upfield, collected on the chest by Ogbonna. He's got Kane breathing down his neck, so Ogbonna sensibly plays it back to Lukasz Fabianski. Out to the right hand side, and Johnson. Credit to young Ben Johnson, a relative of our very own Paul Parker, who's on commentary duty this afternoon for Manchester United Liverpool. No Sofal, no Fredericks, but certainly West Ham haven't struggled defensively with Johnson on the right hand side. Started his career at youth level as a winger, so always keen to get involved in an attacking sense as well. Ben Johnson. Here is Kurt Zouma for West Ham. Deep inside his own half, he goes back to Fabianski, the keeper. And now Ogbonna will take over. Certainly I think the onus is on West Ham to try and go and win the game in the final 21 minutes plus added time. Tottenham look more content with a point, but here's Skip into Son, always a danger Son, finding Ndombele just on the edge of the West Ham penalty area. Now Lucas Moura. Shortage of options ahead of him, so he plays it to his left and Skip. Here's Harry Kane, away from Souček Kane, but he's run into a crowded box, and it's collected by Fabianski, and that's where I'm saying, David, maybe a fully sharp Harry Kane at least gets a shot away there.
Yeah, maybe he's crowded out.
Long ball forward to Antonio. Lloris off his line, he's caught Antonio on the follow through. Antonio goes down. Lloris actually did well there, reacting alertly as the ball was played over the top of the Tottenham defence. Does catch Antonio though.
Yeah, he doesn't need to. He catches him with his arm, a flailing arm, not with his boot. And I think there's a little bit in that. I think he knows what he's doing there, Lloris.
It's subtle enough that
yeah,
VAR wouldn't intervene.
No, but I've been on the end of a few of them where, you know, it looks innocuous, but actually the perpetrator knows exactly what they're doing.
He's a strong lad though, Antonio. He's back on his feet as the throw-in is taken on the right hand side. Johnson tries to poke it forward to Bowen, cleared away for another throw by Højbjerg. Tottenham having to work doubly hard here to keep West Ham at bay. 0-0, 1-1 between Brentford and Leicester, and Manchester United Liverpool still to come on this Super Sunday on Premier League Live. Throw in by Johnson down to Ben Rama by the right corner flag. Gets his cross into the area, looking for Antonio, but headed out by Højbjerg. Another throw. Which manager will blink first in terms of going to their bench? West Ham in particular have plenty of attacking options to bring on, the likes of Nikola Vlasic, Yarmolenko, Lanzini. For Tottenham, probably only really Dele Alli and Bergwijn, if they are going to go for broke in final 20 minutes plus whatever Paul Tierney decides to add on. West Ham dominating possession in this second half. Declan Rice giving it away to Fornals, who's deflected shot, tipped over acrobatically by Hugo Lloris. That's a great save for the Tottenham keeper.
Yeah, it is, because it takes a little deflection on its way. Nice build up. Antonio into Fornals, tries to feed it wide to Souček. It's Reguilon that loses it. I don't know what he's trying to do there, Reguilon. Eventually Fornals takes a strike on, takes a little deflection of Eric Dyer, who makes a lunging block, skips up off the turf, and it just looked to be dipping over the head of Lloris. Fingertip save over the bar.
Stunning save from Hugo Lloris. Corner for West Ham, only their second of the game. Cresswell and Fornals have come across this near side. Looks like Fornals will leave it for Cresswell. So a bit confused. Eventually Cresswell puts his right arm up in the sky. Left-footed delivery. Oh, it helped in by Mikel Antonio. West Ham hit the fronts, and it's their main man again. Mikel Antonio with the goal. 18 minutes from time. They've been knocking on the door in this second half, and finally Mikel Antonio has put West Ham United in front. Cresswell with the delivery. Antonio stabs it beyond the reach into the corner. It's West Ham 1, Tottenham 0.
Yeah, well, they looked the most likely, didn't they? I mean, he didn't really move a muscle and just tried to get any little contact on it. Flicked out his right boot, and from about 3 yards out, just dropped in towards the near post.
Terrific finish by a striker, banging form. Mikel Antonio scores against Tottenham for the third successive game here at London Stadium. It's his 7th goal of the season, and you have to say the balance of play, particularly in this second half, it's no more than West Ham deserve.
Absolutely. I don't know what the celebration was though. Was that sort of the Matrix or something? I don't know. I'm trying to work it out, because he had the cardboard cut out before, if you remember.
Well, he likes to be inventive, doesn't he, with those celebrations? And the question now is, can Tottenham, who have adopted a pretty defence-minded approach, suddenly get on the front foot and ask some questions of West Ham late in the game? 17 minutes to play. West Ham lead by a goal to nil.
Is it the right markers in terms of Harry Kane marking Mikel Antonio? I'm not so sure. I mean, I think you need one of your best markers on Antonio, purely because of the power he possesses. You know, he can just shrug you off, and really, I'm not sure that's the wisest move from Nuno.
Team news is in from Old Trafford. We asked, would Bruno Fernandes, McTominay come into midfield? So it's De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Lindelof and Shaw, Fred, McTominay, Fernandes, Rashford and Greenwood behind Ronaldo. No Paul Pogba in the starting lineup. 3 changes also for Liverpool. Alisson is back in goal. Diogo Jota starts, with Sadio Mane dropping to the bench. There's also a rare start this season for Ibrahima Konate. So it's Alisson in goal, Alexander-Arnold, Van Dijk, Konate and Robertson, Henderson and Milner, Keita, Firmino, Jota and Salah. No Sadio Mane, David, and no Paul Pogba.
No, but there's Fred, and I said Fred at the start, and you were like, what? Fred? That's not team news.
There we go. Well, that's why you're the expert. Well, I'm a mere mortal in comparison. Tell you what though, what a cracking game that should be. Paul Parker will be alongside.
Salah played as a sort of 9 and Jota out wide. It'll be interesting to see how that front unit, how that lines up exactly.
I guess the plan maybe before last weekend would have been Firmino making way, but having scored that hat-trick, very difficult for Jurgen Klopp to drop his main man. Commentary from Old Trafford to come after we're finished at London Stadium. West Ham 1, Spurs 0. Terrific second half performance from West Ham. You had to say over the course of the 77 minutes, Tottenham have not been great, David.
No, absolutely they haven't.
Here's Reguilon though, beats the offside trap. Is it stolen from his toe by Johnson? Kane into Lucas Moura. Moura trying to turn away from Declan Rice, and he finds Højbjerg in the centre of the park. Now Skip. Still neither manager has gone to their bench with only 13 minutes remaining. And Ndombele for Tottenham. We trail 1-0. Mikel Antonio with a goal on 73 minutes. Ndombele still in possession, but not really doing too much harm. And if he does play it into the area, it's cleared away by Zuma. And given away cheaply by Ben Rama. Leicester City, I think, are back in front against Brentford. Will get confirmation with Richard Wolfenden there is shortly. Sounds like a cracking game at the Brentford Community Stadium, as it usually is with the Bees. Meanwhile, Zuma has smashed the ball upfield, and he's already, Kurt Zuma, David, become a bit of a fan's favourite for West Ham.
Yeah, a really good signing. I mean, it's quite harsh, isn't it, for, I guess, Craig Dawson, who was superb last season, but to find himself on the periphery. He gets his games, though, doesn't he, in the cups and stuff, Dawson, but yeah, Zuma's been a good signing. Very good.
Took a while, didn't it, to get it over the line. There was talk that maybe he wasn't happy with the contractual terms on offer, but already forming a brilliant partnership with Angelo Ogbonna, to say. A bit unlucky for Craig Dawson, who scored in the week, having done so well at the end of last season. Are you surprised that Nuno's not gone to the bench since conceding a goal?
Well, I mean, I'm not too sure whatever he brings on is going to be better than what's out there. As this is, I don't think there'll be too many changes. Ben Rama looks a little bit tired. That might be the only one, but
I think I'm right in saying that Yarmolenko, since the start of last season, the most used sub in the Premier League. Here's Ndombele stretching those long legs, almost bamboozling himself inside the penalty area. And West Ham clear deep into the Tottenham half. Here is Romero. There are a couple of subs ready to come on, by the way. Giovanni Lo Celso of Tottenham and Manuel Lanzini, who you may remember scored that dramatic late goal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium last season in a 3-3 draw. Here's Johnson volleying the ball clear from the right back position. 11 minutes for West Ham to hang on, or for Tottenham to get back on level terms and salvage a point. As it stands, West Ham shooting up the table into the top four, ahead of Brighton, ahead of Spurs, and ahead of Manchester United, who play later. In comes the cross from Reguilon, well defended by West Ham.
Well, they're encouraged by the fans, aren't they, just to get up the pitch, get out of their box, you know, just squeeze the pitch, get up a little bit. But I mean, they're content at the minute, West Ham, just to sit in and just be that block in front and just see if Tottenham can break them down. I mean, they haven't had the quality so far, have they? So you wouldn't guess that they'd be able to break them down in the next 10 minutes or so. Certainly not how they played for the previous 80.
Lanzini's an interesting change to come on for
Well,
David Moyes.
I think if it's anyone, it's going to be Ben Rama that's going to come off. He's the one, you know, and I guess it would be Lanzini's more likely to look after the ball, I think, than Yarmolenko.
Harry Kane coming deep into midfield. Apart from that header in the first half, tipped over by Fabianski, very few opportunities for Kane to mark this 250th Premier League appearance with his usual goal against West Ham. Here's Ndombele. Lucas Moura in the centre of the West Ham half. Everybody in claret and blue back behind the ball. Emerson Royal, the lanky fullback, comes forward. Now Romero in the yellow footwear. Sprays it out to the left-hand side, but Johnson there ahead of Reguilon. Didn't really bring it down, though, and Reguilon wins it back for Tottenham. Just inviting a bit of pressure here, West Ham sitting deep. Skip towards the penalty area, away from Fornals. Here is Harry Kane in the box, out to Emerson Royal. His cross blocked by Declan Rice. Still Tottenham have the ball with Emerson Royal. Little back heel into Harry Kane in the right wing position. Plays a left-footed ball infield to Eric Dyer. The West Ham fans want their team to get higher up the pitch. Here's Lucas Moura looking for Emerson Royal, intercepted by Cresswell. And can West Ham now break? No, they can't, because Romero is there ahead of Antonio. Poor ball away by Fornals. Here's Emerson Royal, who stayed forward, and Ndombele over the top, headed clear by Ogbonna. Looking for Kane. Long leg of Souček clears the danger, but again they don't keep it. Lucas Moura grappling with Antonio, and he's got the ball, but he's shown too much of it to Declan Rice, and Rice able to poke the ball clear, and it looked like the ball went out of play. Referee says no, and Antonio continues into the penalty area. Ben Rama denied by Lloris, who came quickly off his line. Still alive for Bowen. Good tackle by Emerson Royal. The chance hasn't gone yet. Ben Rama just took on one Tottenham player too many, and here comes Højbjerg. Brilliant play by Antonio. When everybody else stopped, he kept going. Now Ndombele down the left, linking up with Reguilon. Chance to cross. Kane waits in the centre, headed behind by Johnson onto the roof of his own net. Corner.
Yeah. I mean, it just looked like the ball had gone out of play here. I mean, Ollie Skip just left it. Let's see. I mean, it did look, but anyway, Antonio didn't take any chances. Took it, drove with it towards the middle of the box. Everyone else for Tottenham stopped, and he played a lovely little ball in behind for Ben Rama, but just took a little bit too long. In fairness, Lloris came out, spread himself well, and Bowen on the follow-up couldn't quite get a shot off early enough.
Would have been controversial, I think, had West Ham benefited. It is Saeed Benrahma, by the way, as predicted by David Connolly, who makes way. Manuel Lanzini coming on to inject some fresh legs for West Ham, and a double change for Tottenham. Giovanni Lo Celso and Hill as well. I think Reguilon is the first to be replaced by Brian Hill, one Spaniard replacing another, so that might be a change of system from Nuno Espirito Santo. What's he saying to Reguilon?
I don't think Reguilon had a good game. I thought it was really wasteful in possession. You know, trying things on the edge of his box just weren't on, giving the ball away, his deliveries, etc. I thought it was disappointing.
Almost looked like a public dressing down from Nuno Espirito Santo there. Lo Celso, meanwhile, is on for Ndombele. And as those changes are made, let's get commentary of the latest goal in the game between Brentford and Leicester. Richard Wolfenden.
Leicester on the counter. That's a good ball as well. It's slipped through. It's Patson Daka. Is this it for Leicester? He squares it to Maddison. And James Maddison taps in from 10 yards out. And despite Brentford once again being on top, they become complacent.
Brentford 1, Leicester City 2. 8 minutes to go there. As Manuel Lanzini is introduced to the West Ham fans.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned about the dressing down from Nuno. I just wonder whether Reguilon's, we didn't see his reaction at coming off, wasn't to the liking of Nuno, and then obviously Nuno's tried to, counsel him a little bit on his reaction.
Not a happy camp at the moment. West Ham 1, Spurs 0. Tottenham corner. Son from the left-hand side, right-footed in-swinger, headed away, collected by Hill, who actually was one of the few bright sparks for Spurs in that Europa Conference League defeat in midweek. Bowen, meanwhile, has skipped away from Son, and he's deep into the Tottenham half of the field. He's got Lanzini up in support. Son did brilliantly there, stuck with Bowen all the way and wins it back inside the area.
That was a good race, wasn't it? A good foot race there from, deep inside his own half there, Jarrod Bowen. Not too many skip away from Son, but he's one of them, and Son's breathing a sigh there. That took a lot out of both players. Great to see.
Yeah, both probably still catching their breath. As Tottenham come forward down the right, they trail 1-0 with 4 minutes remaining. Mikel Antonio with a goal, converting from Cresswell's corner. All 52 of his Premier League goals have been scored inside the penalty area. Only Tim Cahill and Javier Hernandez have scored more goals inside the box with a 100% record. He is deadly. And it sounds like boos, they're actually saying Juma, just showing how much they've taken the former Chelsea players to their hearts already. You've got to say the recruitment policy by West Ham over the last year or so has been absolutely spot on, and it hasn't always been the case in recent times. Here's Hill down the left for Tottenham. Time running out for Spurs, but Hill linking up neatly with Skip. Lanzini shuts the door, and it's cleared upfield by West Ham deep into the Spurs half. Nuno in a hurry tries to get the ball back to Romero for the throw-in.
Yeah, David Moyes just encouraging his players to get up the pitch as they cleared that ball over the halfway line, just to keep pinching, squeezing yards. But again, we go back to West Ham, all 11 behind the ball. That is the block. Can you break it down?
I think we all wondered, having finished 6th last season, would they be able to maintain that momentum with the Europa League blotting their fixture list. Well, they've certainly been able to do it in the first 9 games of the season, if they can see out this 1-0 win, West Ham. Tottenham largely disappointing. As long as it stays 1-0, they will believe that with Harry Kane in particular out there, they might get one more chance. Spurs. Hill's had it stolen away by Johnson, and here's Bowen. Antonio down the right hand side. West Ham on the counter again. Hill, to his credit, got back in there and just took a bit of the momentum out of the attack. Antonio flicks it forward to Lanzini, who heads it back to Antonio on the far side. He's such a fantastic athlete, Mikel Antonio, and he's won a throw.
Yeah, it's just fantastic, super centre forward play here from Antonio. I mean, he's raced away, he's put in, he could have actually gone for goal, but he knows there's no one in the box, so I'm always on the flank. I'll just turn back, wait for support, retain possession, played a couple of little 1-2s and sport a bit of time.
Antonio on the right hand side, down by the corner flag. Hill for company. Antonio, I think, will be quite content if he can come away with a corner. Skip is there as well. Still got the ball, Antonio, and in the end, I think he's fouled himself. So it's a free kick for Tottenham down by the corner flag.
If there's anyone you want to take the ball into the corner, it is Antonio, isn't it? Though I've got to be honest, that tactic very rarely works for too long.
I think Spurs will be disappointing watching a replay of the corner. Wasn't the cleanest of balls in from Cresswell over the head of both Lucas Moura and Dyer at the near post, then Antonio giving far too much freedom inside the 6-yard box.
Well, to be honest, I mean, it was man-marked by Harry Kane, who had both hands on him, Antonio, but the point is it just dropped over everyone's head and all he had to do was stick a boot out, and Kane couldn't really do anything. He's obviously marking goal side, but nonetheless, you know, you'd probably want a defender marking Antonio rather than another centre forward.
We're into the last minute of the 90 here on Premier League Live. West Ham 1, Spurs 0. West Ham closing in on back-to-back wins over their London rivals for the first time in 7 years, and getting back to winning ways at home after 2 successive defeats in the Premier League as well. Bergwijn for Tottenham and Dawson for West Ham ready to come on as Fornals is fouled by Emerson Royal. It's a free kick for West Ham inside the Spurs half, down this left-hand side, and a chance to eke away a few more seconds as Dawson is introduced by David Moyes. Jarrod Bowen, as you probably heard in the PA system, the player going off. Another good shift from Jarrod Bowen.
Absolutely. Worked so hard for the team. You know, you spoke about signings, and I think a lot of them have been really good. Probably a few more British ones, I guess, that Moyes has made, you know, but he inherited Bowen, who's been a great one for them. Nothing wrong with dipping into the Championship and picking out those players, and Bowen's been a really good one.
Lucas Moura, having extended his goal drought to 24 matches, is taken off in place of Steven Bergwijn, who made his comeback after 5 games out in Europe in the week. Here is Cresswell playing the free kick forward to Antonio. Romero jumped well, heads it clear, and then Souček there ahead of Son, just on the edge of the centre circle. Bit of head tennis being played inside the Spurs half. Cresswell nods it down, the Celso forward, but Kane is really isolated again. And Dawson, with his first touch, steps in to win it back for West Ham, and then Johnson sprints away from Hill. Looked up and saw nobody in the centre, so has to play it back to Fornals.
He still carried the ball a good 30-40 yards, didn't he, you know?
I think he's had a good game, Ben Johnson.
You're just saying that because his relative who's sitting behind you.
Yeah, Paul Parker wouldn't forgive me if I said otherwise.
2 foot, yeah, probably.
He's already given me a little dig in the ribs earlier in the commentary.
Well, Dawson's come in, so they've gone to a back 3, which, you know, is one way to try and have what you hold and use Dawson in there, so it's even harder for Kane to try and get hold of that ball now.
We're into the second of 3 added minutes at the end of the 90. West Ham leading by Mikel Antonio's goal to nil. A deserved victory on the balance of the play. Will Tottenham get that one last opportunity for an equaliser? Here is Emerson Royal into Son, again having to drop very deep. Son to get involved in the play. Excellent rearguard action from West Ham as Spurs have tried to apply the pressure late on. Son with the ball into the area, but plucked from the sky by Fabianski to a huge roar. Wasn't a great ball in truth. Too much height on it. And Fabianski will take as long as he possibly can to get the game restarted.
Yeah, the ball in actually on a diagonal just dropped a little bit short. It did mean though Fabianski had to come a fairly long way out of his goal to try and claim it, almost by the penalty spot. Good hands though, nice clean hands.
It's going to be a 7th clean sheet in 10 games for West Ham in all competitions, barring something quite dramatic now with 30 seconds of added time to go. Antonio forcing Emerson Royal to run the ball out of play.
That's West Ham's ball. Yeah, that is West Ham's ball. That came off Royal.
Throw-in taken by Tottenham. No harm done because it's smashed clear by Ogbonna. Zuma rather. 20 seconds to go. David Moyes is on the cusp of taking West Ham into the Champions League places. One last long punt upfield from Hugo Lloris. Wolf whistles for the West Ham supporters. Lloris up towards Kane, flicks it on. Declan Rice there ahead of Højbjerg. Ogbonna clears. There is the full-time whistle. West Ham United make it back-to-back wins against Tottenham for the first time in 7 years. Mikel Antonio, who else with the only goal? 17 minutes from time. Cresswell's corner, stabbed in at the near post by Antonio. It's his 7th of the season. Well, they asked if West Ham overachieved last season. They asked if they could possibly match those achievements. Well, the answer so far is very much yes. West Ham above Brighton, above Tottenham, above Manchester United, into the top 4 as the home fans celebrate with vigour in the stands. Fortune's always hiding, they say. Not anymore in this part of London. It finishes West Ham 1, Tottenham 0. Fornals level with the penalty area. Over on the far side, crosses over the head of Antonio, and it's a header from Souček against the stanchion behind the goal. A glorious chance. Souček knows it, punches the green turf in frustration. It was a wonderfully weighted ball hanging in the air. Souček rising high above Reguilon, just couldn't get the header on target and probably should have.
By his standards, that is a really good chance. Probably one last season, maybe, I don't know, maybe would have taken it.
Reguilon with a chance to cross again. Stood up to the far post. Kane wanted it more. Good save, Fabianski. He turns the ball over the crossbar. Harry Kane from point blank range.
Yeah, it's a good strong hand here from Fabianski. I think either side of him it would have been a goal.
Fornals down the line to Antonio. Gives it back to Fornals. This looks promising. Oh, he almost found Souček in the area. Close by Reguilon, but he's given it away to Fornals, who's deflected shot. Tipped over acrobatically by Hugo Lloris. That's a great save for the Tottenham keeper. Left-footed delivery. Oh, it helped in by Mikel Antonio. West Ham hit the fronts, and it's their main man again. Mikel Antonio with the goal. 18 minutes from time. They've been knocking on the door in this second half. Mikel Antonio has put West Ham United in front.
Wonderful delivery. Goes over there to Souček, and he just sort of sticks out his leg. He's marked by Harry Kane, I think, Antonio here. And as the ball drops over the head of Souček, he just sticks out a little leg and just knocks it into an empty net.
So Mikel Antonio, the match winner for West Ham, a beaming smile as he makes his way off. The bubbles flying, the West Ham fans still celebrating in the stands. And well, we were just talking off air, David Connolly. I don't think anybody who watched the game, even the most ardent Tottenham fan, could deny that the best team came out on top. And Harry Kane, so often the talisman for Spurs, once again a pretty disappointing day at the office in the Premier League.
Yeah, it was for him, but for West Ham, I mean, you know, now beating them and with regularity the likes of Tottenham, you know, at home, no one could deny that they deserved that. I think they were fantastic, you know, got the goal that their play merited, and I guess if you had a few quid on that, you'd be a happy man now.
And in terms of Antonio, not just the goals that he scored, but when Tottenham were dominating possession late on without ever really looking like scoring, I mean, he was such a good outlet going forward. He was doing his defensive duty. He was stretching that Tottenham back line. He has become the complete number 9.
Yeah, he has. Obviously brilliant. All his goals in the box, as we know, but he's got a little bit of everything. He's got pace, power. His ball manipulation is good. He can hold the ball up, bring others into play, decision making, left, right. He's got a little bit of everything, and he's turned into a fantastic forward. And West Ham should be really pleased and proud that they got him. And it seems like a match made in heaven. It seems like a really happy club, and it's a club that, for a long time, was often unhappy. Stadium, signings, how they're doing in the league, but they got in a really good manager. He's formulated and brought together a terrific group of players. I think the dressing room looks fantastic. Great spirit amongst them. They fight, they battle, they work hard for each other. There's no prima donnas in there. And they're just grinding out results, hard to beat, supplementing the team they got with some excellent, astute signings, and, it just seems like a great place to be at the minute, which is wonderful.
And ultimately, that team spirit and desire, was that what set the two sides apart today, as much as footballing ability?
You could, it just looked like, West Ham, everyone knows their jobs, and they know exactly how they're going to play. We spoke about it in the game, but we saw the graphic at half-time. When West Ham don't have it, all 11 behind the ball, deep in their own half. That's their tactic, not to go and press the ball, and then to go and counter. And they did it so well last season, that was a template. But, they're maybe not as, I don't think they're as electric to watch this season, but they're really hard and they grind results out, and they've got a couple of players who have that little bit of magic in them.
Yeah, magic performance from West Ham, a magic afternoon for the home supporters, but Tottenham beaten away from home, beaten in a London derby again. They've lost their last 5 Premier League London derbies now. They are still clinging on to a place in the top 6, at least until Manchester United take on Liverpool. That game coming up very shortly. Elsewhere, Brentford 1, Leicester City 2, a game of plenty of opportunities. Tielemans put Leicester in front on 14 minutes. Matthias Jorgensen with the equaliser on the hour, but Maddison with a rare goal, James Maddison winning it for the Foxes. 17 minutes from time. Leicester on the rise, they're up to 9th, above the likes of Arsenal, Wolves and Brentford. Brentford into the bottom half of the table. Still to come to round off what's been an action-packed weekend. We have the big game of the weekend, one of the big games of any Premier League season, one of the oldest rivalries in English football, the two most successful clubs in English football. Liverpool travelling to Manchester United. Paul Parker and John Anderson standing by for that one. You are listening to Premier League Live.